What is it about the Halloween franchise that invokes so many good memories for horror fans? Is it the image of a man who is unstoppable, always watching, always inching closer, knowing that at any minute he could jump out and get you? This is exactly what made Michael Myers the boogeyman in real life for so many fans. For me, the memories of watching the first movie when I was definitely too young and seeing Dr. Loomis having just shot Michael Myers look over that balcony and see nothing there is still in my mind all these years later. That moment, along with many others in the first film, got me hooked. Fast forward to October of 2022, and I, like many other Halloween fans, were excited to see the conclusion of the newest trilogy. What we got, though, was an absolutely unfettered mess of a movie. From painfully cringeworthy dialogue to an insignificant love story and to plot choices reminiscent of Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, it's fair to ask, what the hell happened with Halloween Ends? To tell the story of Halloween Ends, you have to start with Halloween 2018. Back in 2018, Danny McBride, David Gordon Green, and Jeff Fradley were approached by Blumhouse Productions to work on the latest reboot of the Halloween franchise. From the jump, horror movie fans were more than a little excited to learn that this newest entry would be a direct sequel to the 1978 classic directed by John Carpenter. The decision to retcon all of the Halloween sequels that followed the first film was, in my opinion, pure genius. No longer would we have to analyze these new films on where they fit in the Halloween timeline. They were free to take the movie in any direction they wanted. This freedom did not disappoint, and Halloween 2018 was received with much fanfare as critics and fans alike agreed that this new film was a fresh start for the franchise that had been bogged down with decades of disappointing sequels. The film itself did not reinvent the wheel, but what it did is take basic effective ingredients and breathe new life into a horror titan. Now, I think that this is a good time to mention Halloween Kills. I think Halloween Kills works as a middle movie in this trilogy. It's not going to blow you away. It's not anything like, the kind of fanfare and reception that Halloween 2018 got. Some of it can get a little hokey with the Tommy Doyle "It Dies Tonight" stuff. They're chasing after this guy who's like 5 foot nothing. He's a mentally ill escaped patient, kind of like Michael. They just all assume that he's Michael. Despite, I'm sure there's accounts that have gone around Haddonfield to be like, Michael Myers is like 6'7" and he's really scary, all this, but they seem to think that this guy is definitely Michael Myers. I know this plays into the whole like mob mentality, uh, social commentary that they were going for. It's a little hokey. It works and it doesn't at the same time. I don't want to spend too much time on the second film. That's why I thought I should jump in here and kind of just give my quick thoughts on it. But as a middle film, it works. If you like gore, this hits all the right notes for you. It is definitely a gory film. The kills in this movie are A plus plus plus. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Just wanted to drop in and put this part in the video. Now, with the second movie out of the way, let's get into what happened with Halloween Ends and why I think it's not only the weakest film in the trilogy, but how it began to return to some of the silliness that Halloween fans unfortunately had gotten so accustomed to with previous sequels. Let's start small and work into the larger issues that I have with the plot. But to kick it all off, the dialogue in this film is bad. Just flat out bad, all around. And if you don't believe me, here are a couple clips that I think highlight that pretty well.
Right here on the top.
Thank you.
Be right back with the lean.
Jesus, Frank, have you ever heard of a vegetable?
Well, look who it is.
What? They're good for you.
Well, I like to mix meats and make croquettes for the guys at the station.
That just sounds disgusting.
I like your hair.
Thanks. Thanks. I just sort of chopped it one day. It just felt like time.
Wow.
Or this beauty.
Why can't the bicycle stand on its own?
No, it can't. It's got a kickstand.
Because it was too tired.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually getting rid of the bike, so if you want it, you can have it. I got a motorcycle.
Oh, a motorcycle. Teach me to ride it?
I'm not saying that you need to be Christopher Nolan per se to write for a horror movie. Plenty of good horror movies have campy, cheesy lines and stuff like this, but you can tell they're trying to actually be serious and make some like conversation that you might see out in the real world. Like this could be a conversation you have at the grocery store or when you're meeting a girl. You know, it's just that awkward, but it's real. This just feels like it was pulled out of like some old like failed 90s sketch comedy show. It's bad. It's very very bad. It's not like this the whole movie, obviously. But it's enough in the first, good 2/3 of the movie of these kind of cheesy lines and just bad dialogue overall that make it really hard to watch. So, terrible dialogue aside, that is not the only thing bad that Halloween Ends has going for it. It also decides to throw in a love story between Allison and Corey. Corey, this character that you are just now meeting at the end of a 3 movie trilogy. You have no idea who this guy is. You learn a little about him in the beginning. Cut to him falling on a glass yoo-hoo, and him and Allison are suddenly out going on a date. It feels super rushed. There's no time to actually feel like these two are connected on any level other than it's integral to the plot, so they made it happen as fast as possible. As the movie progresses, it just doesn't hold up. It seems like it was an afterthought, or if you were sitting down to write this movie, the idea of inserting a love story with an unknown character in Allison just seems silly to me. Along with that, if you've watched any of this video so far, you've likely seen the trailer for Halloween Ends as I'm using it in the video. Since you're on YouTube, take a second after this video and Google yourself a Halloween Ends trailer from before it came out and tell me if you think that you could figure out that Corey was going to be one of the main characters of this movie, almost, the only main character in this movie, because I didn't before then. And halfway through the movie, when I went and saw it in theaters, I was thinking, who's this guy? And why should I care about him? So yeah, I think that is another failing of this movie. It kind of reminds me of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. A lot of people were like, why no Michael Myers? And it was because of bad marketing on the part of the Mustafa Akkad. And I think this movie suffered from the same fate as Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It just was not marketed well, that you were only going to see the, actual Michael Myers for 10 minutes and 55 seconds, which you would say to yourself, but Juice, he was only in the original Halloween for 9 minutes and 37 seconds. And I would say you are correct. This was pointed out by a social media page by the name of Halloween Movie Source on Twitter. But I would also like to say that there was a whole part of this movie at the end of Halloween Ends, and spoiler alert, if you have not seen it, I'm about to ruin it. At the end, when Michael is finally dead, he's strapped to the hood of a car and paraded around town before being turned into a puddle. So yeah, he is on screen longer, barely, in Halloween Ends. But also, there's about a 3 or 4 minute scene where he's just getting paraded around town. So it's not really like he was in it. He is in it as a body. So where's that leave us? I would say that we took out the old toddler basketball hoop, the Fisher Price one, and we did a little dunk on this movie. Do I think it's a total throwaway movie? No. I did say it was a mess in the beginning of this video. Yeah, it is a mess, but I can still like messes. So can you Buster Rhymes judo kick this whole trilogy in the garbage can? I don't think you can. I would say Halloween as a franchise is in a really good spot. Just because I didn't like the last movie of the trilogy doesn't mean don't think that they were taking it in a good direction. There's just some things in this movie that I didn't like. Like I said, I didn't like the dialogue. I thought it was cheesy, way too cheesy, not fun cheesy, bad cheesy. We had the whole love story that never really, it was too rushed, too forced, didn't feel real. And then, you had your plot choices, which I did say kind of reminded me of Curse of Michael Myers, and that was a little harsh. But I didn't like the whole Corey being in the entire focus of the movie. To me, that was a little bit misguided, not really being honest with fans with your trailers. But overall, I thought it was a really good trilogy. I did not enjoy the end, and I appreciate you sticking around because I like talking at you and I like telling you my opinions on movies and video games. So if you like this kind of content and you want to see a little bit more, you want to see more of the juice, then go ahead and like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see y'all people around.